Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about certificates of training. The certificates of training that you need to send in with your application packet to have it completed. And so what do these certificates of training mean? How many do we get and what do we do with them, right? So what do? Certificates of training, they satisfy the USCG testing requirements. So satisfy USCG testing requirements. So that's what they do. Instead of testing at a regional exam center, you go through our course, whether online or in a classroom, and after the course training, we test you. You pass those tests and you're issued certificates of training. So how many of these certificates do we get? Let's check that out. How many of these certificates do we get? We get one certificate for each course, right? So for each course, if you take a master's course, you get a certificate of training for a master's. If you take a sailing endorsement course, you get a certificate of training for a sailing endorsement. If you take a towing endorsement, you get a certificate of training for a towing endorsement. So if you took a master's license with towing endorsement, you'd get two certificates of training, one for the master's and one for the towing endorsement. And we'll actually issue you multiple copies of each, so you can retain one for your records and you can mail one in with your packet to the Coast Guard. So what do we do with these certificates? We mail these things out. What do you do with them? We mail them to the U.S. Coast Guard. U.S. Coast Guard. And if you're looking for that address, I did the in a previous video, which video was it, where I talked about where do you mail it. It's the application packet overview video. Takes you through the process of finding a regional exam center where you mail your packet. So these certificates of training, they satisfy the testing requirements for the Coast Guard, and you get one certificate for each course you took, and then once you get the certificates, you mail them in with your packet, and that satisfies the Coast Guard testing requirements for the license.